in New South Wales, there are existing stamp duty concessions for first home buyers, and they're available for purchases up to $800,000, right? And these will continue. That won't change. And what that means is that up to a purchase price of $650,000, you're not paying any stamp duty as a first home buyer. And then it's sort of phased in up to $800,000 where you pay the full whack.
Yep. There's a lot of qualifications, sort of criteria too, Veronica. It's, you and your spouse, you can't have owned previously. You can't have owned or co-owned residential property in Australia. You must not have received an exemption or concession under the First Home Buyers Assistance Scheme. So lots to think about here and explore. And you must move into the new home within 12 months after buying the property and live there for at least 6 continuous months.
And that last one is actually very important because, as we'll get to, what I discovered is that the land tax for investors is a lot more than the land tax for owner-occupiers. And we'll go into that. I guess I'll explain that in a minute. Now, actually.
Is that under the new regime, or is that existing? Because in Queensland, your principal place of residence is exempt from land tax. So is that
Correct.
the case in New South Wales as well?
Yes, it currently is. Yes. So what will happen though, what does happen, if you are an investor and you own a property in New South Wales that has a land value, and let's just pull that apart a bit. The property's value that land tax is calculated on isn't the purchase price, isn't what the property is worth as a whole. It's based on the unimproved land value. So that if you've got imagine it's a block of land, it's however the valuer general values that block of land. If it's an apartment.
Not even the market value, Veronica. It's
not
the
even
valuer
market.
general. So it's actually a government entity that places a value on that block of land, not what someone would pay for that block of land. So it's not
Correct.
The market value.
And so that valuer general's valuation, if you like, or the unimproved land value, that's what they base all the rates on. So your council rates and then obviously land tax are based on that valuation. So it's very different. You can spend $1 million on a purchase price, but the land value might be $400,000. So the land tax is based on the land value and stamp duty is based on the purchase price. And so when prices are rising rapidly, your stamp duty bill's going up accordingly, whereas land tax takes a lot longer actually to be revised and start increasing. So they'll assess it every year, and so it's a sort of a much slower, and it's assessed on a rolling 3 years value average or something like that. Yeah. So in terms of shocks to the actual land tax bill, you don't get as many shocks there, whereas with stamp duty you can get quite a big shock as prices rise. The thing too, that as an investor, if there's a threshold under which if the land value doesn't reach that threshold, you don't pay any land tax, right? And once it's over that threshold, you do pay land tax. So there could be some investors or rentvestors that might not actually have to pay any land tax currently, even though they're investors. There's also apartments. There's a land component with apartments, but it's obviously a lot less than a house. So if you've got a block of land with 6 apartments on it, that's the land value will be divided by the lot owners of that apartment building. So if you've got a big apartment in there, your proportion of the land, your share of that land will be larger than, say, for a 1-bedroom apartment in the same block, but there's going to be a value attached to your portion of that land. So with some apartment owners might not currently, as an investor, need to pay land tax, and others might. And also if you own more than one property, you're going to go over the threshold in total, and so you'll be up for it. So it's a little bit complicated. So, and I think it's important to distinguish that stamp duty is calculated on the purchase price, land tax on the valuation of the unimproved land.